Due to weather, some of the projected rice acres may give way to soybeans. Plus, USDA has made a family farm-focused announcement and a lot more on today's episode of the Arkansas AgCast, which starts right now.
You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Jason Brown and John Nickman.
Hey, happy Thursday, both of you. We are on the brink of a long weekend, a 3-day weekend. It's not raining today, which is sort of new for us.
Yeah. It was pretty warm yesterday afternoon, though.
It got real warm yesterday afternoon. It was a nice day. It turned out to be a nice day yesterday. But yeah, anyway. What's been going on?
Man, what has been going on? Went on vacation last week.
Yeah,
That's why y'all didn't see us. I will say the place we went... one disclaimer, I'm not a beach goer.
That's right.
I've made that clear and apparent to anybody that knows me. So, and probably on this show a few times.
Yeah.
But if I have to go back to the beach, that would be the place I would go. I was.
Oh, really?
I was thoroughly
right.
impressed. It rained the first 3 days we were there. So, we were in a house. I'm one of the few people that's okay with being in a house, like while it rains.
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable with myself and a TV and a couch for long periods of time, but the rest of my crew's not. So we were pretty busy while it rained and thunderstormed, but the pool that was there was great. The kids had a bunch of fun. We ate well, had too much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travel there and back was great. So I was exhausted when I got home, though. I planned on coming in Friday, but after we got in Thursday evening, I was like, I'm just going to stay here and do laundry.
Yeah, that's awfully
Town's going to daycare, and I'm going to watch some Star Wars. So it was good. It was a nice break. I brought my iPad with me because I had some stuff I needed to do. And I had in the back of my head that I remember when Brian went on vacation, and he was like, "Nope, I'm not looking at emails. I'm not doing anything." And I was like, I got too much stuff that's timely and important that I need to get done. My password for my email expired. Like as I was getting on our way.
Yeah.
And I was like frustrated about it. But like after the week was over, I was like, that was pretty nice.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't get any work phone calls. But I didn't have, it bugged me a little bit that I couldn't access my email. I could see the little red dot, like notification of you received one.
You've got some email.
When I got home, I had like 50 emails and it was bothering me. Like, it got in the way a little bit. But it was nice having my head out of work.
Conveniently timed expired password.
The only reason I took my iPad because it expired on my phone.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it hadn't, and y'all don't know, y'all two do, but trying to change passwords is a little strenuous. But
now you have the ability to change it yourself.
Yeah, I see that. But it wasn't expired on my iPad. I was like, all right, well, I'll just take that. Well, the next day it expired.
Yeah, as soon as you open that bad boy and connect it to the internet.
And your password has to be this long. So trying to remember that thing is difficult. But yeah, it
physically and literally accurate.
It was good. I smoked a pork butt over the weekend.
Oh, nice.
It was really good. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. And then catching up all this week. What about you?
Man, it's been busy. It's been, I feel like I'm meeting myself coming and going, but that's okay. Been a busy week, and I'm glad for it. Makes time pass by quickly. So yeah, that's a good thing. There's been a lot going on, both locally and nationally on the ag front. We're going to talk about a lot of that today in the news. Full show, lot to cover there. Likely to be a long show as far as news goes, but let me see. What about this weekend? So tomorrow kicks off, I guess, the official kickoff of summer. Unofficial, I should say. Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, doesn't summer technically start in June? Like there's a June 2nd or
Yeah, I mean meteorologically, I think, but I think
it's a big word.
in our minds, and I don't even know if it's a real word. I don't even know if it's real. I don't know the official first day of summer based on that calendar, but
Yeah.
but I think everybody sort of considers that Memorial Day to Labor Day time period.
What are you doing for Memorial Day weekend?
We've been accused of making up words on here before, so it's okay.
For sure.
So,
Yeah, fact check.
I've
us.
never mispronounced a name or a word on this show. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
Never.
yeah, exactly,
never.
exactly. Y'all got any plans?
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
Still making them up as we go. So
Nothing wrong with that.
I think we're about to paint the exterior of the house. So we have
That'll keep you busy.
we have a task to. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, well,
I've got to.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, I've got to pick a color. So
yeah.
it's,
Okay.
house is a little too tall to
Yeah.
paint myself.
That may be a little harder than actually painting it.
It is.
Picking out the color.
It is because I thought we were just going to go with the same color.
Bring it back.
and
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
it back. But now we're thinking maybe we'll do something different.
You on
So-
with the painted white brick theme? That's pretty
Oh
popular right
no,
now.
because we have the hardy board siding,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit different animal.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is it more of a process if you change the color? Like, do they have to prime over or something like that versus just?
it can be if like ours is dark paint, and if you go lighter, it can be because
Okay.
it could show through.
Yeah,
they may have
that's
to
what
add
I
an
was
extra
wondering.
coat or two. But
Yeah.
so
What color are you thinking?
she's looking in the green family,
Like
So,
a matte kind of, not bright green.
Olive-ish.
It's
Yeah.
kind of olive-ish, I guess.
I like that.
It's,
Yeah.
it's very popular right now.
There's a house in our neighborhood that in the last year painted their house a similar color.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Right now we're a very pretty navy color.
Yeah,
And we've
yeah.
been thinking about staying with that, but
I like that too.
I don't know, I think we can't go wrong either way, really. But-
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Especially if you've got a black roof too.
Right.
We went black when we had our roof replaced a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
At the encouragement of the contractor or whatever. Man, we're glad we did.
Why black?
Looks better. He
Okay.
said it was in vogue at the time, and we actually had the gutters replaced too at that time. So when you do black roof and black
Yeah.
gutters, it looks real good.
You have black gutters?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Interesting fact: it doesn't cost you any more money to choose the color of your gutters.
Good to know.
Yep. So if you ever have a claim or decide to do it on your own or whatever, you can just ask for whatever color you want.
As far as I've gotten with gutters is cleaning them out.
Yeah.
Never got to that point where I had to replace them.
Ours was a storm.
Knock on wood.
Storm deal.
Yeah.
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 So
Ours
anyway.
do look pretty bad though. They need to be power washed.
Yeah. Well, are you going to cook this weekend?
I imagine so. I'm going to try to play some golf.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Maybe hit the water if I can.
Yeah. Dodge some raindrops a little bit.
Yeah.
I think last I saw, it looks to be a little bit of on and off.
Yeah.
Not a washout, but a little bit of weather here and
As
there.
long as it's not lightning. I imagine chicken wings are in my near future.
Okay.
They usually are on these kind of weekends.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it. Get behind that.
Probably be a burger. The kids are there, so there'll probably be hot dogs.
Yeah.
So
All things that
I,
fit right into the thing.
mm-hmm.
I foresee ribs this weekend.
Ooh, I like it.
Speaking of grilling meats, if you are in the need of buying any meat, please look at our Arkansas Farm Trail for several of our farmers that grow and raise as well as sell their own cuts of meat locally.
Yeah.
Fly and Sea Ranch. I think we're going to put a video out tomorrow.
I believe.
Who is it? Hannah Walker?
I looked at it right
Yeah.
before I
Yes.
walked downstairs.
Yeah. So be looking for that on our Instagram page.
Yeah. Good
Yes.
call.
And you can find all their contact information at arfarmtrail.com.
Good. What a good plug.
Hey, man.
We did a check presentation for Arkansas Hunters Feeding the Hungry last week down in Saline County and at a place called Cruz Meat Products. And they're one of the original processors for Arkansas Hunters Feeding the Hungry.
Okay.
Been doing it for over 20 years. They process more meat for that program than any other processor in the state. And right as we were about to leave, somebody brings up retail cuts.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a whole offering of retail cuts. Now, they farm hay, so I'm not sure where the protein's coming from, but they had, we all bought quite a bit of ground beef.
Yeah.
I bought a ribeye. They had summer sausage. I mean, they had all kinds of
Have
cuts.
you cooked any of it yet?
No, going to take some this weekend for sure. Make some tacos with the ground beef, I think. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into that. But Jared Yates, Steve, myself, there were several of us who purchased some meat on the way out the door. And that was cool. It was a cool place. Yeah, so get outside this weekend, enjoy the weather, cook some protein, animal protein that you buy from a farm trail. I cooked some lamb that I got when we were at Flying Sea Ranch for that staff tour a few months back. That was great.
Speaking of food, something I've included in our specialty crop division update, there's a food drive that the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission is putting on.
Okay.
It's a division of the Arkansas Department of Education. The big event will be Tuesday, May 27th. If you or anyone you know would be interested in donating any shelf-stable goods as well as fresh produce, you can contact Diana Shelton at 501-683-1300, or her email is diana.shelton@ade.arkansas.gov.
Okay. All right. Good deal. I think you're waiting on me for that, too. I just remembered that I saw that yesterday.
Yes.
So
By the way, you have not edited my stuff.
I will get on
that. Need to send out.
I'll get on that.
I did send that to you yesterday
morning. Y'all sent me 10 other ones. So,
well, with high quality information requires high demand for your input.
All right, I'm on it when I get out of here. Okay, I hear you.
You should take that as a compliment.
If I didn't know better, that was a subtle. Yeah, he waited. Until
well,
he
I called myself.
I forgot about it. That's his fault.
See, I called myself out thinking he might show me a little grace.
Yeah.
No, he dug in deep, didn't
That's
he?
right.
But I called him out about my soybean one 2 days ago.
That's true.
But he was in the middle of doing it, so he said.
Yeah, I was. I sent it to you right after.
I didn't quite beat him. He was right.
We were talking about something else, non-work related.
Yeah.
He's like, what about my soybean? It's like, I'm
"Uh."
literally working on it right now.
Yeah, he said,
great.
"No, I'm in the office today." Working on my division update? Yes, actually. Okay, keep up the good work.
It's been a busy week. Brian was out Monday and Tuesday. I'm just saying, it gets busy.
Yeah. It's been a busy week.
Glad to have you back. Anyway, also just sort of one not final reminder because we'll be here next week, but well, I guess we'll be here next week and it'll still be May, but May is Mental Health Awareness Month. If you did not catch John mention, he was not here last week, so we published a deep dive episode with Haley Mills, a mental health professional in Jonesboro. Then Jennifer James, farmer in Jackson County, had a great conversation about mental health, the unique aspects of stress and mental health needs for farmers, ranchers, and those living in rural communities.
Yeah.
It's a great conversation. I guess I'll say that, even having been part of it. They made it great, not us. But it's available, Spotify, Apple, wherever you stream your podcast. Audio only because it's a deep dive, but you should go give that a listen.
Yeah, I was there and saw it in the flesh.
And I will give you guys an exclusive note here too. If you are part of Women's Leadership Committee, if you are part of YFNR, if you are part of the Ag Leaders Program, in the next couple of days, you will be getting an email invitation to a special mental health training that we are giving as a pre-conference offering at O&L. And this is exclusive to you guys. You'll see all the details in the email. But the training is limited to 35 individuals. But I'm so excited about this. Our keynote speaker for O&L has offered to come in and give this training in advance of O&L starting. So we've never done anything like this. So 9 a.m. on that Thursday, July 17th, we're going to offer this training, especially to you guys in women's YFNR and Ag Leader program. And you'll be able to register for that, like I said, here in the next day or two. So keep an eye on your email inbox for that. We're working on that pretty heavily this morning. So that'll be pretty cool, I think. And then one other content note here. Your team has pushed out 2 new Ag Insiders just this week on Tuesday. Would you like to give us a roundup about the strawberry one?
Yeah. We've added to Jason's workload this week quite a bit, and 2 of those items were new Ag Insiders.
Yeah.
We talked about the strawberry.
We did.
Disease, fungus a few weeks ago. If I tried to pronounce the disease without reading it, which I don't have in front of me, I would get it terribly wrong, but it's kind of commonly known as NEOP. And what it has done is more or less killed plants. And extension specialists noticed it or had heard about it before planting season. The way these strawberries come in 2 different forms, most people in Arkansas plant them as either what they call plug plants, or they plant a whole root plant or bare root plant. Which the plug plant, they're grown in 2 different areas,
regions of the country,
kind of our side of the globe here. In Canada is where a lot of our plug plants come from, and then they're grown to a certain extent, and then they're sent to nurseries on the eastern side of the state, and then they come to us all across the southeast. Your bare root plants come from the West Coast, California, and a lot of those are reserved for like big commercial farming operations out there in those dry areas. NEOP is very susceptible when the environment has a lot of moisture in it. So this spring we've had a lot of rain. The nurseries and the propagation places where they come from in Canada, they believe the NEOP was first seen in those 2 specific original or origin of growth. So when they came from Canada and to the nurseries, they realized they had it. They told growers were already, say this year, they're already ordering plants for next year. So they had realized that it was there, so they called the growers basically saying, hey, we've seen this in plants. There's a good chance the ones we're potentially going to send you will have it. So growers had an option of whether they wanted to keep them or get a refund for their order. Some growers took the refund. Some of them didn't. Some of them planted them at their own risk. And again, some of them worked out. I think mostly everybody that's had plug plants has seen some issues with NEOP. Anywhere from 10 to 20 to 50% loss, with one farmer already having a complete loss before harvest. And that's the one we talked about. And there's a video of it on Instagram or social media that we put up. But with the extended amount of rain we've had this spring, it's increased the problem quite a bit. So we're working with Extension and also my own research. We put that paper together as an Ag Insider to try to give some light on the issue. It doesn't really go into depth about the economic impact, basically just because strawberry season isn't quite over yet.
Still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. But I guess the main point is a lot of these farmers are hurting. It'll be a direct impact to their communities. And then also strawberry season will more than likely, I wouldn't say more than likely, it has the possibility of ending earlier than it normally does.
Yeah.
So if you want strawberries, NEOP is not a risk to human consumption. It just kills the plants. A lot of farmers are just culling those plants out, but their harvest has gone way down. If you want strawberries, get out there now.
Yeah, good call.
Because they're not going to be here for much longer until next year.
Yeah. The other Ag Insider that we put out this week is on the bill reconciliation process, budget reconciliation process, rather. I'm not going to go into detail about that because we're going to talk quite a bit about it. I think we've got 2 stories that sort of bring that into the mix here today. So just know those are available at ARFB.com. You can search Ag Insider or look under the Commodities and Regulatory Affairs tab on the website. You can find both of those.
Yeah, and that last one, the bill reconciliation process, was written by Tyler Oxner and Brandy.
That's right.
Carroll.
That's right. So go find those. All right. Before we get into the news, let's hit some planting progress and crop quality reporting here. In corn, we are 94% planted. Last week we were at 92%. Last year we were at 93% this week. And then the 5 years, 91%. So pretty much on target there. 85% of the crop has emerged. 66% of the crop is good to excellent condition, with another 34 being at fair to poor. Rice, we're 93% planted last week. That's about a 7% jump over last week. Right on par with last year. And the 5-year average is 91%, so pretty close there too. 80% of the rice crop has emerged, with 71% of the crop rated good to excellent, and 29% rated fair to poor, or about the other portion of the crop there. Soybeans, 74% of the soybean crop has been planted. Last week we were at 69%. Last year this time we were at 80%. The 5-year average is 74%, so right on target there. About 57% of that crop has emerged. About a little over half of the state's peanut acres has been planted. That's a big jump over last week, where we saw only 20% planted. Last year we were at 44%. The 5-year average is at 14%, so well ahead of that. And then 20% of the soybean peanut crop has emerged. And then sweet potatoes, just a reminder, we haven't reported on this before this year, but 57% of that crop is planted as of this week. Last week, only 40%. And then that first cutting of hay, 14%. I'm trying to remember if that's harvest. I think that's harvest. 18% last week. Last year we were at 14%. The 5-year average is at 14%. And then about a little more than half of that hay, first cutting of hay, is in good to excellent condition. So some numbers there. We're going to talk a little bit about those rice acres and that percentage, what that may look like with some of the rain. I think all of this reporting is according to the prospective planning report in Arkansas. So given the amount of wet ground that we still have, I think we'll see this all adjusted pretty well based on what we've been hearing. I don't think we'll see the number of prospected acres that we had in March. I don't think we'll see that turn into ground truth. I think we'll have fewer acres than that actually planted.
Yeah. We heard from our peanut correspondent last week, didn't we?
We did. I probably should have had that meet. He told us, I believe, that weather has just been so wet that they are big time behind.
Yeah. He also made a comment I thought was interesting, that some of their stuff was slow to emerge because of the wet conditions.
Yep. And he's just reporting in Mississippi County, but he said that cool, wet spring delayed planting. He said they were making a lot of progress in northeast Arkansas. This is last week, but the rain slowed them down again. He said a lot of cotton and peanuts are yet to be planted in their area. And he said even the oldest peanuts that they had planted, meaning the longest planted, have been slow to emerge.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we did another one of the staff tours, and this was down at Lee County. And the farm that we visited, they were way, way behind on cotton and peanuts. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the theme. I think you've got a lot of farm acres too that are going to struggle to miss the cutoff for insurance.
Yeah.
To struggle to make the cutoff for insurance, meaning they may be taking some of those that hit. They drop a % of coverage for every day they go beyond the planting cutoff date.
I think you're gonna get into this, but that total amount of soybean acreage is probably going to go up, if I had to guess.
I think so too.
What we expected it to be.
And the reason we'll talk about it, but the reason is you've got a lot more leeway on planting soybean date. You can plant those bad boys a lot later than anything else. So.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, you want to get into the news?
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it.
That's why we're here. All right, USDA and Secretary Brooke Rollins have announced a policy package specifically for small family farms. So let's go ahead and dive into that. After nearly 100 days on the road and hundreds of conversations with farmers across the country, U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins has rolled out a major policy package under her Make Agriculture Great Again initiative. The new Farmers First Small Family Farms policy agenda is focused on revitalizing America's small family farms. which make up roughly 86% of all farms in the U.S., but have faced growing financial pressure in recent years. Sorry, mistimed my mute button there. So what's in the plan? The USDA is offering a practical toolkit designed to remove red tape and give small farms a fighting chance. Key highlights include simplifying USDA application processes, expanding access to credit and farmland, ensuring land stays in production, and offering more risk management tools and business planning support. There's also a renewed focus on making it easier to pass family farms down to the next generation, updating how we define farm size, and ensuring USDA programs are truly farm-focused, not weighed down by bureaucracy. The announcement builds on momentum from a recent Farmers First roundtable in D.C., where Secretary Rollins heard directly from over 20 producers from 11 states, alongside voices from the National Association of State Departments of Agriculture and leaders like Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen. As Rollins puts it, America's family farms help feed, fuel, and clothe the world, but they're running into too many roadblocks. This new agenda aims to remove those barriers and create lasting opportunities. With the backing of President Trump and support from leaders like our very own Arkansas Ag Secretary, Wes Ward, the USDA is working to put small farms, not just agribusiness, at the heart of America's ag policy again. So Secretary Ward was quoted saying, "Agriculture is an important piece of our national security, but unfortunately we've seen a steady decline in the number of farms, especially small family farms, throughout the country over the last few years. Arkansas is thankful to have Secretary Rollins and President Trump placing the focus where it needs to be and putting farmers first. We appreciated the opportunity to join Secretary Rollins recently to provide input on today's announcement." We'll continue to monitor this new agenda, of course, like we do everything else here on the show, because it could mark a big shift in how federal ag programs serve rural communities and independent producers as well. So if you want to see the new policy package, you can find it at USDA.gov.
Okay.
I think it's about 14 pages. There's a lot of detail in it that we just don't have time to get into here today.
Yeah.
So good news. See what happens with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, we just sort of talked about this, but there's been a lot of talk lately about weather impacts on this growing season, especially as it applies to planting. With the planting clock ticking, we may see some of the new acres converted to other crops. As of this week, USDA reports 93% of the state's rice crop has been planted, as we just reported. But George Jared with Talk Business and Politics talked to Extension agronomist Jared Hardkey, who says we may fall short of that projected 1.4 million acres of rice to be planted in the state this year. And the reason is it's just too wet to get planted. Hardkey explained while reaching the cutoff date for prevented planting coverage, which helps farmers in the event they're unable to plant an insured crop by the final planting date. He went on to say that with the parade of nuisance rains, input costs, and the challenges of cash flow, farmers will have to start penciling things out yet again. Looking at their whole farm budget, figuring in continued low commodity prices, and higher input costs, including fertilizer. For rice growers, the final planting date is May 25th, with a 15-day late planting period that ends June 9th. Rice put in the ground during the late planting period is still insurable, but at a reduced coverage level, as we just mentioned. Hunter Byram, Extension agronomist for the Division of Agriculture, said rice or any insured crop planted in the late planting period will have its guarantee reduced by 1% per day. If a farm planted 5 days after the final planting date and had purchased a yield production policy at 75%, the yield guarantee would fall to 70% of the expected yield. Similarly, for revenue protection, the revenue guarantee would fall to 70% of expected revenue, and anything planted after the late planting window is uninsurable. So you can see that's where we start to get up against that timeline. Yeah. If you say, hey, I'm going to be so late getting this rice in the ground that I can't insure it, you may start to make that decision to plant soybeans instead.
I think there's a lot of people out there that just couldn't catch that window of dry.
Well, and
there's a lot of people that don't have dry ground right now.
Rain this week. It's going to rain this weekend. I mean, it's not getting better. in those terms. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that, see how those acres change in reality, especially as we get into summer. All right, let's take a break here and talk about Mental Health Awareness Month, which is May, as you know. And our friends at American Farm Bureau have brought back their Farm State of Mind campaign.
Yeah, that's right, Jason. A healthy farm or ranch is nothing without a healthy you, and the Farm State of Mind program has a lot of helpful resources like the Together All online community.
Together All is a safe, anonymous, online, peer-to-peer community accessible 24/7 and moderated around the clock by licensed mental health professionals. The platform is available to farmers, ranchers, and members of their family who are 16 years or older.
All you need to do is set up an anonymous profile to gain access to a network of peers who can listen and offer support. In addition, if farm families need counseling services, those are available for no cost thanks to the Farm Family Wellness Alliance.
And to learn more, visit farmstateofmind.org or type Farm State of Mind in your search engine. All right, let's get back to the news.
Okay, here we go. So we mentioned it earlier, but we have some new news, as Jason likes to say here on the show, on President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. In a razor-thin 215 to 214 and 1, which I assume is an abstained vote, or not present.
Not present.
Yeah. Earlier Thursday morning, so real early this morning. This thing it started at like 1 or 1:45 a.m.
1 a.m. Yesterday they started in the committee hearing.
Yeah. So the U.S. House of Representatives passed what President Donald Trump has called the One Big Beautiful Bill. This sweeping piece of legislation is a centerpiece of his agenda, combining tax cuts, reforms to farm and food assistance programs, and significant reductions in government spending. The vote came after an intense overnight session with floor debate kicking off just after 1:45 a.m. And continuing nonstop until passage. At its core, the bill aims to cut taxes by $3.78 billion over the next decade, while slashing approximately $1.2 trillion in social spending, most notably Medicaid and SNAP. If you remember, SNAP's a big part of the Farm Bill.
That's right.
The Federal Food Assistance Program, which is SNAP, supporters like House Agriculture Chair G.T. Thompson say the bill delivers on promises to invest in rural America and protect the nation's farmers by expanding support for crop insurance, increasing commodity program reference prices, and committing $2 billion to trade promotion. The Congressional Budget Office projects these agricultural divisions will increase farm safety net spending by over $52 billion over the next 10 years.
Wow.
But the bill hasn't come without controversy, of course, like everything else. Nearly $294 billion in SNAP cuts are included, largely by requiring states to share more of the cost and imposing stricter work requirements, which has also been in the news quite a bit, especially here in the state. This has sparked heated opposition from Democrats, who argue the bill puts low-income Americans at risk while benefiting corporations and special interests. Debates also intensified around the extension of tax credits like the 45Z Clean Fuels Production Credit, limited now to North American-produced feedstocks. Critics, including Representative Teresa Ledger Fernandez, blasted the bill for favoring tax breaks on things like tanning beds over critical rural infrastructure like hospitals. As the bill heads to the Senate, it remains a flashpoint in the broader battle over the future of America's social safety net and agricultural priorities. So the next step for this bill, right, is to go through the Senate.
Yes.
So we'll keep that on the tip of in our mind as we come into our next show next week. Hopefully we'll have something by then. I don't know if we will. I don't know the timeline of how quick the Senate's going to act on it or vote on it. Do you?
No, but we've been having several conversations internally.
But I guess it has to go through their Senate Ag Committee first, right? That's
maybe. I mean, it went through the Rules Committee.
Maybe that's what it is.
Because of the budget reconciliation piece.
Yeah.
What I've been told is that it could change significantly in the Senate. They each have separate directions or instructions in their committees as far as cuts go. That looks one way on the House, looks a different way on the Senate. So we'll see what happens in the Senate. Yeah, for sure. We may have something to report next week, but we'll just have to see. and sort of a related story, and we're going to tie these two things together here. Do our best to, I should say. But for my last story today, we'll cover something that's been getting quite a bit of buzz this week. And honestly, this story needs a bit of clarification, so we wanted to cover it here on the show, just to emphasize a couple of things. Thanks to U of A for putting this together here. The headline is that a 2-year decline in Arkansas net farm income has been interrupted, but that comes with a big asterisk here. It's not because farming has suddenly become profitable, said Hunter Byram, who's a friend of the AgCast and extension economist for the university. As a matter of fact, the spring 2025 Arkansas Farm Income Outlook issued by the Rural and Farm Finance Policy Analysis Center said net farm income in Arkansas was expected to rise 22% in 2025 over 2024. So if you're scouring or laughing at that, let's kind of address this and break this down a little bit.
I know a lot of farmers that would love to have 22%.
I know it. But now, again, most of this increase is going to be driven by supplemental and ad hoc disaster assistance from ECAP, which we've talked about with Tyler Oxner. That's the Emergency Commodity Assistance Program that we saw funding arrive from in March of this year. It was passed in December, and funding started arriving in March this year. That disaster assistance is from the damage suffered by Hurricanes Francine and Helene last year, okay? So there was some assistance that came out in the form of ECAP, and it was passed in 2024, landed in mailboxes 2025, okay? So that's pushing some of this increase. But total cash receipts, which is the gross income farmers earn from selling their crops or livestock, are projected to decline by over $500 million as crop receipts and farm-related receipts drop. These declines are only partially offset by the 1% increase in livestock receipts as beef prices rise.
Yeah.
Okay. So important to note there. Corn alone accounted for 42% of the decline in the last 2 growing seasons. Okay. And still, Arkansas farmers are supposed to plant more than 200,000 new acres of corn this year over last year. Cotton is down 11% over the last 2 years. Soybeans have dropped 25% in the last 2 years. When I say dropped, I'm talking about prices, not acres. You see where this is headed. A big reductions in row crop cash receipts. Livestock has a slightly better outlook right now, mostly remaining stable, driven by lower livestock feed prices as a result of the low row crop commodity prices.
Yeah.
Right. We talked about this some. Now, we are publishing a video on this topic today that also covers the budget reconciliation process that passed out of the House overnight and will now head to the Senate. And the reason I want to bring that up is because that budget reconciliation has in it the opportunity to address some very immediate needs on risk management issues that would normally be covered in the Farm Bill. And we're going to get kind of deep here for a second.
This is not a deep dive.
Would normally be covered in the Farm Bill, but since we're on the second year extension of the Farm Bill, that's not being addressed, and farmers need help now.
Yeah.
So this video that we've got out talks about how the budget reconciliation process could help farmers now.
Yeah.
And we're also going to talk to a farmer who says, look, if I don't get help right now, this may be the last year that I farm.
Yes.
5th generation farmer who's literally thinking about hanging it up.
Yeah.
Because of the financial situation. So very important, very sobering conversations happen around this right now.
Conversations in general in agriculture are tough currently. And, I guess right when harvest was coming in, prices started falling. And then you see that, I've said it here several times, you see the supply and demand of global stocks. And we have higher supply, and we're now in a trade deficit. And I can speak on soybean prices in the last week or so. 2 weeks, we've seen a jump, a good positive jump. We hadn't hit $11 yet. That'd be nice in the futures. But I was concerned back then, right before harvest last year, and now knowing the farmers that have gone out, what farmers are left, how many more of them could potentially go out without assistance, without help. And what does that mean for the overarching ag industry, not only in Arkansas but in the country?
Yeah.
And how long can we keep pushing the needle as it gets heavier and heavier and more impossible to move? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It scares me as an economist, even though I'm not farming, but my job and my livelihood does depend on agriculture.
Yeah. I was talking to Hunter last night. We were talking back and forth last night a little bit about all this, and he mentioned in the southern part of the Delta, so I don't want to list a certain county south because it could range a little bit, but not northeast Arkansas, but in the mid south, down in the Delta in Arkansas, there was something like 60. There've been something like 60 auctions this year.
Wow,
that normally would have been maybe in the double-digit range, like maybe in the 10 farm range. So it's really kind of scary to think about.
I know a few of those auctioneers or auction companies, and I've just always thought, well, man, they do it pretty good when it's going pretty bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's almost like a moral struggle.
Yeah.
What I would imagine if I was in that situation, I'm making money off, providing the service, auctioning off farmers' equipment, but also it's because somebody else is, having to get out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So
tough situation for everybody involved. Well, before we move into Stump the Host, we should have mentioned this at the top of the show, but just a reminder that we have that contest going on that we announced 2 weeks ago.
True.
Where if you go on to any platform where you listen to the AgCast and you like or if you subscribe to the AgCast and or review it, then you'll go into a drawing to win some AgCast gear. We showed the coffee mug a couple weeks ago, and I haven't even shown you this. I'm just realizing. And this week we have our new water bottles. So
that's nice.
If you can see that. So you'll
Can I win one? Do I count?
No, you can't win one. You're an employee.
Farm Bureau programs.
You'll earn a water bottle, coffee mug, stickers, all the AgCast stuff that you can think about.
Yeah.
So go on there, review us, subscribe. Even if your review's 1 star, you're always going to be 5 stars in our heart.
Yeah, and we also have other great prizes in the Arkansas Farm Trail, so don't forget to
Get
get your passport
Used
and
car
buy
salesman.
products and get your stamps.
All right. Well, let's wrap this puppy up. How about it?
I think he's trying to tell you he gave you something from the farm trail.
No, I don't have a single thing from the farm trail. I got the stickers I ordered, and that's it.
I tried to give you that hot sauce, and you told me to keep it.
Because I've already got some.
Okay.
Well,
sounds like you're a step ahead.
Yeah. Come snatch
Try to
that.
give somebody a gift, and they say they don't want it.
Come snatch that
That's
cooler,
right.
cooler
right,
from
for
outside
sure.
your office.
It is kind of out in the open. I might need to do something about that. I trust you people
Well,
too
Might
much.
disappear at night. That's all I'm saying.
That was your first mistake, I guess. So.
Yeah.
Well, let's play.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while.
Gave me the shivers, or it's just because it's cold in here.
Yeah, that's funny.
You guys got a hankering for anything in particular?
Why don't you kick us off?
Well, what do you got on the board? I like choices. I do better with multiple choice than I do.
I know which one you're going to choose, but I'll give them to you. Entertainment, history, science, arts.
I don't want to veer off because I know I'm going to get the other ones wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's do history.
I should have just read you that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Should have.
Okay.
You knew what he's.
What city was Rasputin killed in?
Rasputin. Do you know?
No.
You kind of perked up there.
No, I was trying to I didn't get Rasputin at the beginning.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit more about Rasputin?
No, he doesn't give us background on it.
It doesn't hurt to ask. I mean, was he going to say no?
Well, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Nope. You know, I know that look in his eyes. That's the nope look.
How dare you ask me that
I
question,
mean, I hate
sir?
to take the words out of your mouth. I actually don't want to rob you of that pleasure.
No.
Proceed. There you go. Nope. That's going to be a T-shirt now.
Yeah.
Look, I'm suffering through this. You guys are going to suffer through this. I'm fighting a nosebleed at the moment. For those of you who aren't watching it's so I'm trying to hide it with the microphone for the video people, but so
I'm guessing it's not a U.S. city.
it is not. Hence the name Rasputin.
Yeah, that's where I got that guess from. I'm gonna go with Paris.
Oh, I like that.
Woof.
It was a big miss, apparently.
Yes, it's a big country.
So
it's
we're
a
picking city, right?
It's a city.
Yeah.
Moscow.
Oh, I was going to pick Frankfurt.
Did I say you could have two guesses?
You didn't. That's why I gave another one.
But you're on the right track. So.
Okay.
I've given two. They're both wrong, it sounds like.
Frankfurt.
St. Petersburg.
Oh, yeah. I should have stayed over there.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to take entertainment.
Entertainment for 100. So, all right, let's see. I've got 3 of them here. Let me pick this one. What is the process called by which people set out to amass large amounts of in-game currency to sell in the real world?
Crypto mining. Oh, no. In-game.
No. Close, though.
I don't know in-game. I was thinking,
I'm not. I used to be in my younger days a gamer.
A gamer?
I've never bought in-game credits. I think that's crazy. But in-game credit resale program, hers.
Oh boy, you were doing better with Moscow, and it's gold farming apparently.
Gold farming.
Yes.
Okay.
Some people, particularly in developing countries, make a livable income from gold farming video game currencies.
Wow.
How about
So
that?
if you want to buy a nice jersey for your NBA 2K player, you can buy it in the secondary market, or you can buy the coins.
I don't know,
the
man.
second-
That's a new
I guess.
world to me.
I mean, so if you're looking to moonlight,
that
you
could
have,
be an
you have
option.
another opportunity.
Side
here.
hustle.
So
There you go.
Side
Yeah,
hustle.
I like
there
that.
you go.
Yeah,
I like
surplus income.
Yep.
All right. So science.
Yeah, let's do science.
Uno
Why not?
mas? Okay.
Okay. Here
Well,
we
you
go.
brought it up.
I was just reading the first one I saw, but I'm happy to do that for you. So, what is the name given to the invasion of warm surface waters off the Peruvian coast that has been identified with strange climatic effects in recent years?
Climate change.
I will tell you, we have mentioned it on this podcast many a time.
La Nina.
Close.
El Nino.
El Nino.
El
is what I
Nino.
was going to guess.
El Nino.
That's the closest I've gotten to a right answer in several weeks.
Let's be honest. It's the shotgun approach. You just keep firing off until you get there.
True.
And that's like,
Yeah.
that's
You
a strategy. It's a
increase
strategy
your
you can
odds.
have.
You increase your odds of being right the more times you try.
Well, let's also be fair. I was glad you picked that one because when I looked and saw how wordy the question was going to be, I knew immediately the look on your face.
Yeah, you start laughing halfway through.
Yeah, exactly.
That's because as I started naming it, I could tell you're going to be like, oh gosh.
Yeah, Jason, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's, well, you missed 300%.
Well,
I guess so.
I'll
Not
get a
quite.
half percentage for getting
Yeah, you got it right on the third
my
shot.
6th guess right with several hints.
I will tell you one
That's
quick fun
fun.
fact that I learned this week while I was out. Since we're signing off here, but before we go,
Sure.
the trap shoot's coming up.
Yes.
So we were having discussions about the trap shoot. I learned something that I did not know about myself.
Okay.
I am left eye dominant.
Oh, interesting.
That's big.
And I did not know anything about that. I've just been, I'm right-handed. So if I'm going to pick up a shotgun,
a long gun, yeah.
stick it on my right shoulder, holding it like that, that just felt natural.
Sure.
But as I'm learning things, I should be holding it on my left shoulder
Yeah.
because I'm left-eye
Do you
dominant.
have to swap your arms when you
Oh,
do
yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Oh,
didn't realize that
interesting.
until I started archery in my late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of all over the place. And I grew up shooting everything right-handed.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'd never
yeah.
shot a bow until later in life. And then when I switched over left-handed with my bow, it was, I wouldn't say it was night and day difference, but then all of a sudden I had control. Like I could,
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I didn't know about this.
you take something the size of a billboard and you don't know where you're going to hit it, and then you switch your eye and you're hitting a paper plate.
Yeah.
That's a
Wow.
huge exaggeration, but that's basically what my experience was with now.
How did you find out you're left eye dominant then?
We did an
Is there
exercise.
a test? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You hold up your hands and look through the little triangle, and you open both eyes so you can see whatever
What
you're
you're
focusing
aiming
on.
at.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then you close one eye and you close the other eye and see whichever eye you can still see that
Oh, okay.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's your
interesting.
dominant eye.
I've tried to switch my shotgun or rifle over, and it's just the muscle memory isn't there.
Right.
Sure.
You know,
Right.
but I've had several people tell me that the sooner you do it, the better off you'll be. So that's one thing I'm going to do with my
Fascinating.
children is like, we're going to figure that out first.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know,
Gotcha.
I've got a buddy that's right-handed in all aspects of life, but that joker plays golf left-handed.
my dad's like
And
that.
that blows my mind. It's like, why in the world did you ever even try that?
My dad,
How did you figure that
Yeah,
out?
my dad writes left-handed. He throws a baseball left-handed.
Yeah.
He bats right-handed and plays golf right-handed. And
That's
shoots
crazy.
right-handed.
That's if I had my wishes to be able to switch like that, I would want it to be in
Be-
baseball.
He calls it amphibious.
ambidextrous.
But it's ambidextrous.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would
He's
love
being
for it to
smart.
be that way in baseball, so you could step up and go, "Oh, you're going to do that?
Based
Watch
on
this."
based on who your
Yeah,
pitcher
yeah.
is.
Exactly.
And yeah.
Or
yeah.
if I'm pitching,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, that too.
Oh, was
Yeah.
it the pitcher from Mississippi State last year? I think he might be in the pros. He was a ambidextrous pitcher.
Oh, really?
And he had a special glove that he could.
that's
Switch
that's
around.
insane.
That's killer. Love that.
That's pretty cool.
If
That's
that right arm gets tired, all right. Now
all
we're going
right.
left.
Let's get over here then. All right. Well, listen, that was fun. But that does wrap up the news for this week. Thanks for following along with the Arkansas AgCast. We're grateful for you taking the time to watch and listen.
Yeah, always. Remember, you can catch new episodes of the show every Thursday afternoon. Find video episodes on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the audio version wherever you listen to podcasts.
Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review when you have a few extra minutes. Could win you a prize right now by the end of the month. The Arkansas AgCast is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau. I'm Jason Brown,
And I'm John McMinn.
and we'll see you next week.